Number 2.
So, a little backstory before the actual story begins. There was this church that stood in an abandoned town that was demolished a few years ago, but some people in my town, they decided to keep the church and try to redesign it or something. This never actually happened though, so they planned to demolish it a few months after this story began, and they did just that. So, there were some rumours going around my town and other local towns about the church. You know, the usual stories of, did you hear about the guy who went missing after going there? Or, they found dead bodies in that place. But I just passed them off as stupid lies that were told around a campfire or something. One day, I decided that I'd had enough of the rumours. After a long pep talk with myself, I finally built up the courage to pack a bag of junk food and energy drinks to keep me going on the journey. Once I collected all of the food and drinks, I got out of my house at around 6:30 a.m. It was winter, so it was pretty dark. Also, probably not the smartest thing, but I didn't tell my parents where I was going because I knew they would try and stop me. So, no one knew where I was going. Considering the church was literally in the middle of nowhere, I had to walk down a long twisted road to arrive near the forest in which it was relatively close to. The roads were empty, except for the odd car every 20 minutes or so. The forest I ended up in front of was so thick and dark, if you put your hand right in front of your face, you could barely see it. As soon as I entered, I could feel a sense of nervousness and regret flood upon me. Yet, since I thought I was some type of tough guy, I carried on walking cautiously, though humming Stand By Me in my head to keep me less petrified. The trees looked as if they had eyes and were glaring at me with hate. I have paranoia and anxiety, so it was a usual thing for me to feel this way. Although I put on a tough guy act when around people, here there was no one around. After walking around a never-ending forest for about 20 minutes, I finally run out the other side, and I find bird carcasses in front of me. I brushed it off as a fox or something and just carried on. After another 10 minutes of walking, I finally found myself in front of the church. I took a big swig of my drink and looked around. There was nothing but old wood and animal carcasses. I slowly put my hand on the door and I began pushing. I wish I had never opened that door. There was a man sitting there in complete darkness. I could see a blood trail from the sunlight beaming in. I yelled, "Are you okay, dude?" I got no reply. Instead, just a yellow-toothed smile. His eyes were so bloodshot that you could see them in the complete isolation of the darkness. I know I looked frightened to him as I slowly backed away, sweating my ass off. The man then slowly got up, revealing a sharp blade he'd been concealing in the darkness. He caught me off guard and ran at me and tried to hit me with the blade, but luckily I'd learned some self-defense tactics from my father, who was a policeman, so I managed to deflect the attack. I ran out of there as fast as I could, back into the forest. I kept on checking behind me, thinking that he was following me, but he wasn't there. I ran all the way back home, looking behind me at all times. A few weeks later, there were bodies found with stab wounds near the church. I nearly vomited, knowing that I could have been one of his latest victims. I notified my dad, and the building, it was demolished shortly after this. But the man, he was never found.
Number 1.
This happened around the year 2000, when I was about 17 or 18, and my sister, she was 15 or 16. We both went to a school for the arts when we were in high school, which was basically the same as a regular high school, except we took special elective classes in our major all 4 years we were there. I went for drama, and my sister, she went for visual art. My sister was taking a photography class that year, and her teacher had given her class the assignment of taking a series of black and white photographs over Thanksgiving break. Now, we lived in the state of Virginia in the United States, but all our other family members lived in the state of Tennessee. That year, we, my sister and I, our mum and dad, and our much younger baby sister, we drove down to Knoxville, Tennessee to spend the Thanksgiving holiday with our mum's dad and younger brother. Our grandpa's house was about a mile away from Lakeshore Mental Health Institute. I don't have any personal photos to share, but you can Google image search it to see what it looks like. It's one of those old school turn of the century, scary as hell type mental hospitals. However, as a part of a city beautification project, there was a massive park built around it in the mid-90s with sports fields, picnic tables, and a jogging trail circling the hospital buildings. My sister got it into her head that this mental hospital was what she wanted to take her black and white photos of. I agreed to go along with her. We set out after eating Thanksgiving dinner around 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. It was a cold, wet day. It had stormed earlier, and all the leaves had blown off the trees, leaving them bare and black against the grey sky. My sister and we started walking around the building. My sister taking pictures of the hospital, focusing on the old, broken down fire escapes and the darkened, broken windows. I was mostly just soaking in the atmosphere and talking about how creepy the place was. My sister started getting mad at me for scaring her. It turns out that both of us are really freaked out by old, abandoned insane asylums. Now, my sister and I had been going to this park for our entire childhoods, and we had never seen any signs of activity in the hospital itself. We were positive that the hospital, it was no longer in use. Anyway, from where we were, you could kind of see the broken glass and look into the empty rooms. My sister and I were halfway around the building, meaning we were at the back of the building. There were literally no other people at the park that day. It was a cold and rainy day, and everyone except us apparently had decided to spend the day at home eating and watching football on TV. It was getting dark and we were getting progressively more uneasy when we looked up to see a huge man in orderly scrubs walking across the lawn towards us. He was already halfway towards us and we hadn't even heard him come out of the building. My sister and we were rooted to the spot in fear. To this day, I don't know why we didn't even just turn and run away. Fortunately for us, the guy, he proved to be harmless. But when he reached us, what he said sent a chill down my spine. The man looked at my sister, at her camera, and then said,
"Can you please stop taking pictures of the building? You're disturbing the patients."
My sister and I nodded, apologized, and then hurried back to our grandpa's house, more freaked out than ever. We confronted our mum about it, but she just blew it off by saying that, of course, the hospital was still in use. She denied ever saying that it was abandoned, but I think she must have lied to us, so as not to scare us any further. G'day mates, it's B-Buster here. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And you know, that guy with the knife, I can't figure out exactly what he was doing there. But perhaps you guys could have a stab at it. Thanks again to the Hive members that bravely shared this story for us all here. And I hope you guys are all doing really well. For the chance to have your story feature in a video, you can send your story to my email, which is in the description below. And as always, keep them coming guys, as this channel relies upon your stories to continue. Also guys, please do me a favor and just state in your email what your story is about in the description, and also provide me with a short written statement of consent, just so that I can be above board with everything. Also, please remember to tell me in the email if you would like to remain anonymous, and please change any names if you don't want particular names to be shared. So guys, I also just wanted to let you guys know that I'll be trying to bring out videos more consistently throughout the week by reducing some of the length of some of the videos I make. Now, this doesn't mean that there won't be any longer videos anymore, but what it does mean is that I'll be trying to bring out a video a day for all of you to make each night as spooky as the last. So be on the lookout each day for a new video. As always guys, it would be awesome if you could like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates throughout the week. You can also catch me on my second channel, all of which have links in the description below. Thanks for always tuning in and for all the love and support, and I'll see you mates in the next one.